Alright guys, we are on the adjusted timescale mod page on Nexus Mods. As always, I'm going to leave a link in the description down below so you guys can follow along with everything that I'm doing. If you like this mod, please don't forget, endorse it. It's basically the like button of Nexus Mods. And with that out of the way, let's get into what adjusted timescale actually is. So, some of you guys might know that as you're playing the game, the day-night cycle is pretty fast. And the reason for that is that the time scale in the game is set to 30, which just means every 1 minute that you're playing the game turns into 30 minutes in-game. So basically, and the math is done here, every 48 minutes of you playing, a full 24 hours goes by in-game, which is a little crazy. I've had a playthrough where I've gone into an Oblivion gate and come out at the exact same time the very next day, which seems a bit excessive. And this is a mod that kind of fixes that little bit of headcanon for you and brings a little bit of immersion back into the game that's kind of missing with a timescale of 30. This is also a great mod to pair with things like basic needs, so if you have anything that kind of mandates that you eat and drink and sleep in order to stay alive. The 30 time scale is a bit on the annoying side for those kind of mods because you're going to find yourself eating and drinking and sleeping most of the time that you're playing, which can be a little bit annoying. You can see here he's got 4 of them listed, but since then he's made a 5th option here, which is a 12. But you can see 30 is the default for Oblivion, 20 is the default for Skyrim, because even Bethesda realized that 30 was a bit fast. He has a 15 version, a 12 version, a 10 version, which the mod author recommends, and then an 8 version. Personally, I really enjoy the 8 timescale version. That's what I've been using over the last decade probably in playing both Oblivion and Skyrim. Timescale of 8 seems to be the sweet spot for me, but to each their own. I would recommend messing around with these and figuring out which one you like the most, and just stick with that. Don't take my opinion over yours. Yours is probably going to be a better opinion for your playthrough. Alright, so installation. I am not going to cover the manual installation of this mod, but the steps are very straightforward and right here. All you have to do is download the file manually and then unzip it, and then dump the contents into this folder structure right here. So it's in Oblivion Remastered, Content, Oblivion Remastered, Content, Dev, OBV Data, Data Open. If you put it here in this Data Open folder, then you basically have everything installed. The last step is you have to add the file name to the plugins.txt file. So that right there, everything I just described to you, is exactly why I use Vortex, because I don't want to have to deal with this, and then if I don't like a mod, go in and undo everything I did to install it and all that, and then heaven forbid an update happens, or a file name changes, or anything like that. I just let Vortex handle all that for me. So that's what I'm going to show you guys how to do, as generally always. We have in the Files tab all of these different options here. And again, we've got the 8, the 20, the 15, the 12 that wasn't listed on the descriptions page, and the 10. Now, recommended is 10. If you guys want to try out 10, by all means, go ahead. The installation process for all of these is going to be exactly the same. All we have to do is follow the Mod Manager download button here, go to the slow download, and if we look over here, you can see adjusted timescale 8 is right here and installed. And if you go to the load order tab on the left, you can see down here at the bottom, adjusted timescale 8 is right there. And with that done, we have installed the mod, guys. I do want to go over a quick little note. If for some reason you're wanting to test out a bunch of these and maybe you want to try like the 20, which is the Skyrim default, you can download it exactly the same, and then you see both of them are here as adjusted timescale dash whatever the number is. Whichever one you have installed second is generally what Vortex is going to put on the bottom. And right now I have both of these installed. Only one of these is actually going to work at a time. This 20 here is loaded after the 8, which means it is going to overwrite any changes that the 8 made. So just keep that in mind if you have multiple versions of this installed for whatever reason, that whatever is the lowest in the load order tab is what's going to take over. I don't recommend having more than one version installed at a time. And honestly, I don't even know why you would have two of them even installed, let alone enabled. But maybe switching between different profiles, you have need for different time scales, which makes total sense. But I'm going to go ahead and just remove this, delete the archive. I don't think I'm going to use 20. I think over the last decade, 8 has been the go-to sweet spot. 12 was pretty good for a while, but 8 seems to be perfect for me. 10 might be better for you guys. Mod author recommends 10. So, yep. Hopefully this was pretty easy to follow along. Hopefully I didn't miss anything, and hopefully you guys were able to get this installed pretty easy and understand what this mod does. Sorry I'm not in-game showing a demo. Pretty hard to actually show the timescale going by. Alright guys, with all that out of the way, happy modding, and as always, happy Mondays. Alright guys, we are back in the game, and I have a mod installed currently called Oblivion Remastered, a survival mod. The first thing that you will notice here is it is asking you how to tune this mod to your system. Now what it's really asking here is what kind of time scale you have set up on your game. Currently, I have a mod installed that sets my personal time scale to 8, so that's the option that I am going to go with. If you do not have a timescale mod installed, Oblivion defaults automatically to a 30 timescale. So, basically this is just asking what's your timescale, how does this mod need to behave compared to what you want to pick for timescale. So, some of you might have a mod set up or console commanded the time scale to around 15. If you are somewhere in between these numbers, I recommend going to a lower setting. That is probably what is in your best interest. If you have no time scale alterations, go with 30 though. Okay, so with that out of the way guys, I'm going to go ahead and pick 8. Now, first thing I want to talk about is what happens if you messed up right there. What if you picked the wrong one? Conveniently, there is a spell called Configure ONR. ONR is standing for Oblivion Needs Remastered. We're just going to go ahead and select the spell and cast it. And immediately what's going to happen here is you're going to get 3 options of what to do. The first option is to change the tuning, and what that's going to do, this might surprise some of you, probably not. In just a moment, it is going to pull up the same prompt as when we first loaded the game with this installed. Again, asking what kind of tuning we want to do. I'm going to pick 8. I'm not going to go over that all again, but I'm going to pick 8. And if you look at the top left, you can see tuning set. It's running all the things in the background. It's going to get all that set up.
It could be a dangerous situation.
And in a moment, I think it's going to be all done. So, real quick, let's go ahead and check out the rest of the things that have spells here. None of these are really popping out as new things, but this mod does add under active effects. You can see we now have a body temperature, thirst, sleep, hunger, and cleanliness. So what this mod does is it adds a bit of immersion by including the need to eat, sleep, and drink. As well as it has a inclement cold weather option here. The body temperature is designed specifically for in the cold in the mountains and snowy areas of the game. You do have to combat the cold. You're going to need to seek shelter more often so that you don't freeze to death. The cold effect has penalties that are progressive as you go along. They're going to affect, I think, agility as well as a couple other things, probably movement speed as well. So the inclement weather is definitely something to watch out for. You can prevent getting cold by having a torch, staying in shelter, or in general just moving. As long as you keep moving, you're going to fend off some of the cold from those regions. Now with the hunger, thirst, and sleep, you've probably guessed it by now, you're going to need to eat food to stave off hunger, and it also is progressive as it goes through, and you will get penalties all the way up until you've died of starvation. I think the hunger, you can go almost 3 days without eating before you actually die, but you will suffer several penalties to your attributes while you are in the different stages of hunger. So I recommend keeping up with that. That is the point of this mod after all. The thirst ability right there is similar to the hunger, but you can stave it off by drinking several of the drinks in the game, or additionally, the mod provides inside your miscellaneous gear, when you spawn in a tattered water skin, it's currently 0% filled, and that is because you haven't done anything to fill it up. So we're going to go into the water here, and in a moment it's going to say that we have filled this thing up, as well as wash away grime. You can see the tattered water skin was removed at 0%, and a new tattered water skin was added at 25%. If you look in the alchemy section, we can see the tattered water skin here. It's currently at 25% full, and that is because, very similar to weapons and armor, it has a health bar. And currently it is in a poor condition of only being able to fill 25% up. As you keep using the water skin, it's going to degrade over time. I think it has 100 health, and every time you use it, it consumes 1 health. But as you progress through the game, it's going to deteriorate until eventually it can't hold water, I think, or it's only going to have 1 at the very end. I haven't tested this enough to know what happens when it gets to the 0 condition, but you can repair this water skin by using deer hide, or the deer pelt. So right now I have bear pelt, but if you get deer pelt by either hunting down deer or going into the various traders across the land and buying deer pelt, you can use it on this, very similar to how a repair hammer is used, and it will begin to repair this. At 100% health, it will be able to hold 4 things of water. And to use this, all you have to do is hit A, and it went ahead and healed me as well as improved my thirst rating. So that's just a quick little thing. If you are out and about and it is raining, I think the water skin is going to fill up a little bit.
Afternoon.
Heard
And
any news
also
from
your
your
thirst will
girlfriend?
slightly go
They
down
say
from the rain.
secrets of wizards. How goes
It's pretty
it?
straightforward. Uh, Next up on that list of different effects, we have sleep. You're going to need a good 8 hours of sleep every day or so just to maintain um, yourself and keep away the effects of sleep deprivation. Sleep deprivation is going to affect some of your stats, similar to thirst and hunger and cold. Um, and you just need to stay on top of it, probably sleep once a day, and you're going to be a-okay. You can eventually die from all of these different needs: the body temperature, thirst, sleep, and hunger. Um, so this is just a mod that adds those core things in for immersion, and as long as you maintain all of your needs, you're going to be okay. If you are not on top of your needs, you're going to suffer some penalties to your attributes. And I think it is a percentage-based thing. So at rank 1, you lose 11% of an attribute, at rank 2, 22%, and at rank 3, 33% of the attribute is suffering. And then eventually rank 4 is going to be kaput, death. Rank 0 being you're fully hung, you're full, you are not thirsty, and you don't need sleep. Now, the last attribute was the newest thing added to this mod, which is the cleanliness. So cleanliness is going to affect your personality and how much people like you and are willing to talk to you. You are fully clean if
Relax,
you
our mace.
dip in the
Into
water, which I
slashes
just
that.
did a little bit ago. And if we go ahead and look at my attributes real quick, we can see my personality has gone up by 10 here. And that's because I just bathed and am fresh and clean. So that's a nice little addition to this that adds some realism. As you
Yes?
go about your day, you're going to progressively rank up your non-cleanliness. But for the first 24 hours after being bathed, you're going to be spotless clean and everybody's going to, in general, like you.
Something
And
I
then it
can do
takes
for
another
you?
3 days
Alphamos is a
after that
sneaky
for
one.
you to begin suffering any ill effects towards your personality.
Yes?
But after that time is up, you're going to lose 10 personality. Um, So that's a pretty interesting mechanic added to this game. When it rains, it is going to clean you slightly, but it'll never get you to the full cleanliness that gives you a plus 10 to personality if you take a bath. So just keep that in mind as well. Rain also helps. And then the last thing I want to note about cleanliness is that while you are out and about fighting, and
Yes.
people start hitting you and start getting you to bleed, your cleanliness is going to begin going down from being in a fight. So, if you walk into a merchant store and you're covered in the blood and guts of goblins, they're going to be a little less inclined to be happy to give you some good deals. Which kind of makes sense. I think it's a pretty good immersion mod overall. I think all 5 attributes are pretty nice in their own way. What I would like to see in the future with this mod is for it to be a little bit more modular, maybe with the same kind of prompt that we got at the beginning for the time scale, being able to configure if you want to include the inclement weather and the cleanliness. Those do seem like very good attributes to add, but I know that it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea to include cold weather as well as the cleanliness. But overall, I love this mod. It is fantastic. I highly recommend it. And with the demo out of the way, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and get into installation. Alright guys, we are on the Oblivion Needs Remastered, a survival mod page in Nexus Mods. As always, I'm going to leave a link in the description down below so you guys can follow along with everything that I'm doing here. don't forget, if you like the mod, go ahead and endorse it. And with that out of the way, let's get into installation. So this mod is pretty straightforward with installation. I am not going to go into the manual installation. I think there's something here on how to install the mod, but I'm not going to get into it. I think it's right there, installation. It's a little buried down here, but that's how you get it manually. I don't think I'm going to make a video covering manual installation. I think I'm just going to stick with Vortex because mod managers, I think, are much better than manual installations 95% of the time. So in the Files tab, we have the main file here, and then we have an optional, the DLC wines. It adds a few of the missing DLC wines. Ones admitted cause issues when modified. We'll address if when able. Due to that, I'm not going to include this optional file just yet. I think I'm going to wait for a few more updates before I do that. In the meantime, though, I am really enjoying this mod here. All you have to do to install this mod is you go to the Mod Manager Download button, do a slow download, and over here in Vortex you can see it's installed and enabled. We've got the Oblivion Remastered Cleanliness Edition installed and ready to go. And that is it for installation, guys. Hopefully that was pretty easy to follow along. Hopefully you guys didn't get lost along the way. And if there's any issues that you guys are having, please leave a comment on the video and I'll try to help you debug as best as I can remotely. With all that out of the way, guys, happy modding and happy Mondays. Hey guys, I totally forgot one part of this mod, and that is uninstallation. So because this mod has different types of scripts involved that will lower your attributes based off all of your different needs, if you find that you don't like this mod for one reason or another, and you want to uninstall the mod, you do need to go through one additional step in-game before you uninstall the mod. You need to cast this configure ONR spell. And real quick, actually, let me show you one thing real quick. I, for instance, have no bonus to my personality right now because I reloaded the save. If I jump in the water here, and I wash away the grime while in the water, I get all that stuff done. If we look back at my attributes, you can see I have the +10 to personality. So what would happen right now if I uninstalled the mod is I would have a permanent +10 to my personality, and there wouldn't be anything in the game that would remove that from me later on because it's waiting on scripts that no longer exist. And the same thing is going to be said about the subtraction of attributes. If you're hungry, thirsty, or tired, or even cold when you uninstall this mod, which is going to be a problem and can probably blow up one of your saves or two. So what you want to do to ensure that you don't have some strange attribute bonuses or penalties when removing the mod is you need to cast the configure ONR spell one more time, and right here it has the remove mod option, and what that's going to do is it's going to go in and remove all of the different options that you've selected. It's going to remove all of these scripts that are telling you about different things. It's going to remove the items from your inventory, and it says you feel your needs fade away from you permanently. And then if we go into my attributes now, you can see my personality has been reset back to its base of 30. So it just resets your attributes and cleans up, your inventory. I no longer have the water skin anywhere. And now, if I make a save to my game, just make a new save. After this, you save your game, you exit out of the game, you uninstall it, and then it is totally fine and safe, and you're good to go. But you do need to go through that additional step of casting the spell, removing the mod through that spell, and that just sets all your attributes up to be what they were before the mod started running all of its scripts. I hope that helps, guys. Happy modding, and as always, happy Mondays. Alright guys, we are back in the game, and as you can probably tell from this message, I've got a new mod installed. That mod is called Core Survival, and as you can see from this message, we instantly got a spell to turn the mod on and off. That's pretty nice. And you can see another message here, just a little important thing. If you have a save that has an older version of this mod installed, you can cast the spell Core Survival Fix Stat. That will fix your attributes from the previous version. And if the Clairvoyance spell is for some reason missing, it has the console command to add the spell back. Pretty easy to do. Okay. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and discuss what exactly this mod does. Well, as you can probably guess from the name Core Survival, it's a mod that is going to add basic needs back into Oblivion that are currently not in the game. So it's going to add a need for hunger and thirst and sleep. All three of those needs are tied to a specific attribute, and without fulfilling those needs, you are going to suffer in those attributes. So for hunger, you are going to lose endurance, and for thirst, you are going to lose intelligence, and for sleep, you are going to lose willpower. And essentially what those three attributes govern, if you're a little unfamiliar with the attributes and how they affect you in the game, they are going to affect your core attributes of health, magicka, and stamina, respectively. So the less you eat, the less health you've got, the less that you drink, the less magicka you've got, and the less you sleep, the less stamina you've got. Which more or less kind of makes sense. It's a pretty good mod, pretty good addition. But it doesn't just add in those three needs, it also has a couple of really nice things. One of the things that it adds is here, this little water skin. So by default, you automatically start with a water skin, and you can see that it is already filled 3 out of 3 available slots. You can use this to recover your thirst. And if you want to refill it, all you have to do is jump in a body of water, and it's going to get the water skin refilled. Now, let's go ahead and check to see the needs in action. We're going to go ahead and wait a couple of hours here. And we should see some indicators that we're getting hungry, getting thirsty, and getting tired. Should show up on the top left here. Slightly tired. Low sleepiness added to the player's spell list. Your stomach murmurs. Low hunger added to the player's spell list. Your throat feels a bit dry. Low thirst added to the player's spell list. And if we come over here to active effects, you can see under script effect, we have low thirst, low hunger, and low sleepiness. If we then go into our items, and let's go ahead and eat some cheese wheels. 1 or 2. 2. And then we go ahead and go to our script effect. We still are a little hungry, but that could just be from how much time it takes to process everything, and yes, that is exactly what happened. It just took a second to refresh and tell us that we are no longer hungry. So we still have the low thirst. Go ahead and get here to the water skin. You can also drink, ale or alcohol, and that will help. And there's also a couple of food items like watermelons that will also help with thirst. Okay. Additionally, if you jump in a body of water, you will automatically get your thirst refreshed because you're in water. That makes quite a bit of sense. And if we come over here to the bedroll, uh-oh, can't sleep with enemies nearby. Well, that's certainly something. Yeah, what are the odds, I fought a tough mud crab. How about that? Hello. I'm not gonna have that. Mess with me too much. Let's go ahead and drop this down. I'm not here to demonstrate combat. I'm here to demonstrate a mod. Just get on out of here, fool. Okay, so last thing that I want to go over is the sleep. If we take a little nap here for an hour, we've gotten a level up, of course. And if you give it just a little bit, should be able to go over here and check our script effect. We still are low on sleepiness. Now this might just take some time to refresh, but I'm pretty sure that as long as you sleep, and I don't think it cares too much about how long you sleep, it's going to deduct the sleepiness from your active effects. Or maybe it requires a bit more. Let's do 6 hours, just to be safe. Your stomach murmurs. But let's check if sleep has gone away. Yep. Low thirst and low hunger is all that's left. Not bad. Not bad at all. Okay. So if that was the only thing this mod added, that would already be amazing. But this guy has actually added something else as well on this mod, and that's the fishing net. So as long as we are in water, we can equip this, and very soon, there we go. The net has been placed in the water. Now it's just a matter of waiting. And if we just sit here in the water, we have a net equipped. Currently, I don't see a net spawning in the world or any animation attached to this at all, but the functionality is what I'm here for. And if this is going to catch me some fish, I'm all for it. So this is something that is a slow process relatively. You are going to just kind of sit in the water, but maybe it's good to explore the water while you're out fishing. You can see we have an iron arrow. Man. In another world, it would have ended up in a knee. Well, we did get one iron arrow added to our inventory from fishing, and you can see we cast the fishing net again. So from what I can see, it does have a health bar here, but it hasn't gone down after fishing. And if we kind of just hang out in the water long enough, we should get a successful fish very soon. Just a small fish perhaps, but it's a victory. Proof that patience pays off, even in the calmest waters. Now, after we receive that message, it takes just a little bit, but we can see that a fish got added, and we got 1 fishing point added to our fishing skill. So this game also adds a fishing skill, and the more you fish, the better it gets. And it will automatically level up as you are fishing. Let's check out our little fish that we got. Fish small. We can go ahead and activate it, and that is going to decrease our hunger. Not bad at all, guys. And you can see we've stopped fishing now that we've left. And we still have the fishing net equipped, which we probably should swap out for something else. An actual weapon, for instance. Now, if that was all that he added in this mod, it would still be above and beyond the things that I'm looking for. But there's even more that got added because of this mod. We're going to go check it out in the Imperial City Market District. Because over the entire world, there are a few merchants, and a lot of them being in inns, that have also gotten a couple of new items. We head in here to the feed bag, for instance.
Put on the feed.
Yes, yes, yes.
May I
We
interest
go into
you in
bartering.
some of my
You
fine
can see
wares?
there's a bunch of ingredients here, which is usually what's here. But there's also apple juice, carrot juice, coffee, grape juice, milk, nernroot tea, orange juice, water bottles, and watermelon juice. All of these are going to decrease your thirst and have a weight and a price. And I think that that is fantastic. A couple of them have a few effects, and you can see the script effect on self is included in there as well. Kind of strange it had to be, overlaid as it is, but I think it's a great thing. I think this is fantastic that the script effect is added even to the alcohol in the game that already exists. This is a fantastic mod, guys. I highly recommend this. If you're playing the game and you want just that little extra bit of realism and immersion, and it kind of bothers you that your guy is pseudo-immortal, being able to go weeks and months on end without eating, drinking, or sleeping, that seems just a little too far-fetched for you. This is the perfect mod to fix that. Alright, so with all of this demo out of the way, let's go ahead and get into installation. Alright guys, we are on the Core Survival mod page on Nexus Mods. As always, I'm going to leave a link in the description down below so you guys can follow along with everything that I'm doing. And if you like this mod, please endorse it. That is basically the like button of Nexus Mods. Lets them know that you like the mod and gets it trending. Alright, so we've gone into already what Core Survival the mod is. Down here you can see that it has a thorough description here of all the different things in the game, everything that it does, and it also has a manual installation step-by-step guide that seems pretty straightforward and whatnot, but I'm not going to go through the manual installation for this. I much prefer Vortex to handle all of my mods. It's good for load orders, it's good for updates, and it's good for tracking down those pesky mods that break your builds. So let's dive into installation. Go to Files here. You can see there's really just one core file here right now. We're going to go ahead and do the Mod Manager download, as always, and go through a slow download. And there's no requirements for this mod, which is pretty crazy to me. I love it. And as you can see here in Vortex, we have the Core Survival already installed and enabled. And if we go to the load order, Scroll down here, you can see coresurvival.esp is installed and ready to go in the load order as well. Hopefully that was pretty straightforward to follow and I didn't lose anybody along the way. Vortex installs are pretty straightforward. If there's anything about this that you guys wanted to talk about, go ahead and leave a comment down below. I'm pretty good about replying to comments, getting back to people, especially if for some reason this is breaking your game or you've got some kind of issue, so I'm pretty good at debugging remotely. With that all out of the way, guys, happy modding and happy Mondays.
Hello there.
Hello guys, we are back in the game here. We are in the Imperial City in the Market District. Looking at the tower, if you hang a left over here, I'm sure by now everybody's pretty familiar with the Market District. We're going to go into Jinxine's Good as New merchandise because she has a new item now that we have basic portable tent installed.
Feel free to browse, friend. It's nice to see a new shopper. I was afraid I lost any hope of new business ever since... May I interest you in some of my fine wares? The guy who gives us good deals, you want us to betray him, I get it. Anyways, so she has these 4 new items here. We have the basic tent materials. Go ahead and buy fine bargain for
you.
And
then we have all of these different options to upgrade the tent. So for now, I am just going to demo the basic tent with no upgrades. Alright, so I am standing outside of Oblivion, outside the Imperial City Sewer. Great thing at the very beginning of the game. And I'm going to go ahead and set the tent up over here in this nice little area with a couple of trees around. All you have to do to set the tent up is to drop the basic tent materials on the ground. There it is, and then you sneak up on it and hit A, and it's going to prompt you to either set the tent up or not. And if you pick no, you're just going to pick it up. If you pick yes, you will see it disappeared, and now you have a tent. So this is the very basic tent. If we hit A, it's going to take us inside. And as you can see, this is the very, very basics of the tent. We have a little fire, we have an owned bed, we have a little sack for storage. Not bad. This is very, very helpful. It was pretty cheap to get. I'm going to go ahead and exit now and show you guys how to pick the tent back up. And then we're going to check out a couple other upgrades. So if you're looking at the tent and you go into sneak mode and then you hit A on the tent, you can see we have the option to take down the tent. I'll do so, and as you can see in our inventory, we have the basic tent materials right back where it was. Alright, so let's get into upgrades. Okay guys, we are real quick just going to go ahead and buy the portable tent upgrade.
Thank you for your business.
Now we're going to go test it out. Alright guys, we have purchased the upgrades. Let's go ahead and check it out here. We've got the portable tent upgrade right there, but we're still just going to go ahead and drop the basic tent materials on the ground. I'm going to go ahead and crouch and hit A, set up the tent, yes, and boom. And just a real quick perimeter check around the tent and see just a tent still. We're going to go inside. And already you can see this thing has been upgraded. Looking pretty good. got the Mysterious Akavir right here as a book. Our owned bed is no longer some rinky-dink bedroll. We have a chest here, and it's already got a couple of things in it. We have a sack. We have a cupboard. Pretty nice. We have a jewelry box with a couple of things already in it. Some drawers, as well as a shelf, which I think is phenomenal, as well as a little chair and reading station here. This right here is phenomenal. I love it. Let's check out some other upgrades. Alright guys, we're gonna purchase the upgrade for the mage. Now this particular upgrade requires the previous upgrade. The warrior is not going to, but the mage is. And if you happen to purchase the mage upgrade before you purchase the other upgrade, just one note, you do want to stash this upgrade for mage piece of paper here and then retrieve it from a container, and that will set up everything correctly for the tent. Just figured I would go ahead and mention that. Let's get into the demo now. Alright, we've purchased the mage upgrade item. Now let's go ahead and test out this tent. So just drop it on the ground here, crouch, and then set up the tent. Yes. And do a perimeter check. Looking like it's just a tent. Let's go ahead and go through the front door. Check out our little mage upgrade. As you can see, we've got the bed, we've got the chests that we've already had, and as you can see here, first thing, we have an altar of enchanting and an altar of spell making. Very, very convenient. Very nice indeed. And then we also have the novice alchemy gear here on the table. So that is pretty awesome. Let's go ahead and purchase the warrior upgrade real quick. We'll be right back. Alright, we are back talking to Jensine, and we can go ahead and purchase this last bit of upgrade, which is the upgrade for warrior.
I appreciate your business.
Alright, let's check it out. Alright, we've made the purchase. Let's go ahead and check out the upgrade with the warrior. First, I'm going to drop this, crouch, and activate. And set the tent up. Alright, quick little perimeter check. Nothing too obvious on the outside. Let's go ahead and get on in there. Okay, and one thing right now, as I'm already seeing, there's a bit of a weapon stand here. I'm sure if I drop a weapon, I can place it there. Still have our magical upgrade here. Crate, course. Yep. All right. Go ahead and drop a weapon. Good old iron mace. Let's see. Does this snag on in there pretty well? It's a rough one. Not quite. That's alright. That's okay. Still an upgrade nonetheless, guys. Yeah, pretty good stuff. I'm really liking this mod. I'm a huge fan. This is probably going to stick right into my load order and stay there awfully permanently. It's pretty good stuff. But you know what? There's a little bit more that we can do with this mod than just this one. There is also, by another mod author, an update to this mod that makes it maybe a little bit more immersive. One thing in particular that's standing out is this is a very nice thing. Very nice, and it's very cheap. Very cheap and very nice, which is maybe a little bit powerful. And having both of these is very nice and also very cheap. There's a mod that kind of adjusts, the pricing of this if you're not in favor of that, and also adjust the weight of the tint itself as you're carrying it. If we come out here, I'll just reiterate how much this weighs. I don't think I'm going to need to demo this other mod that affects those values, but I will talk about it and go through installation. So here we have it. Go sneak, and we can take the tint down. And if we go ahead and look in here in the inventory, we've got the basic tint materials, and it's only weighing 5 pounds. Okay, so that can be changed in a mod. It's going to increase that weight from 5, I think, to 40 the last time I looked. We'll go into that in a second. But it's a bit more immersive that the entire tint that we just saw in there weighs more than 5 pounds. Some of you are really going to want that because of the realism and immersion of it, so I'm going to include that in the video here. But before we get to that, I want to go over just a few things noted about this mod that can help debug. If you have the tint out and you don't have the basic tint materials on you, and let's say that the tint itself disappears, or even if you just lose that completely, what you can do is go into Stealth, come here and activate the Portable Tint Deed, and you can see here it has all of these different things here. We can remove all of our upgrades. We can check to see that we have the tint upgrade and the magic tint upgrade. It will basically note that you have it. We can call for a new tint, though. And as you can see, one basic tint materials is added. Now, I still have the basic tint materials here. This is just a debugging process in case you happen to lose your tint. Now, what is actually happening is it's instantiating an object in the world, and when you reload that zone of the world, it may not remember that you have a tint there. It might just load the world as it expects it to be, and it doesn't expect your tint there. So the game itself is just going to forget all about your tint. That's the way to debug it. Canonically, the reason that that's happening is bandits saw your tint and stole it. That's the headcanon anyways. So I just wanted to go over that. You can always activate this and restock. And you can also sell this. I guess technically you could do some nefarious things by selling a bunch of things. But yeah, that's about it. I also think that she restocks her shop, Ginseng, and we'll have more of these to purchase if you also want to do that instead. So just wanted to go over that. Now let's get into installation for this mod and also the mod that adjusts the price and weight for a little bit more immersion if that's something you're interested in. Alright guys, we are on the basic portable tint mod page on Nexus Mods. I'm going to leave a link in the description down below so you guys can follow along with everything that I'm doing. And if you like this mod, don't forget to endorse it. This is basically the like button for Nexus Mods and gets these mods trending. Alright, so real quick, before we get to installation, we need to talk about requirements for this mod. As you can see, there's going to be 3 requirements for this mod to work appropriately. There's also an alternative version for this that doesn't have Magic Loader or doesn't have UE4SS, but I highly recommend that you have all 3 of these installed. And fortunately for you, I already have videos covering the installation process for all 3 of these, as well as Magic Loader Loader that automatically runs Magic Loader when you run the game. I will leave links in the description down below to those videos so you guys can follow along and get those set up in order to use this mod effectively. Alright, I think that's it for requirements. There is an installation process here you can follow for manual installation, but I am not going to do that because it is a lot of work and time and effort, and Vortex already does most of the heavy lifting for us. I much prefer Vortex. You guys should definitely be using Vortex. Okay, let's get here to the Downloads tab, and we'll go over a couple of different things here. So as you can see, there are several versions of files to download. We have all these different versions. This is UE4SS and TSMI required. This is the no UE4S version, and this one is the no UE4S. So you'd need both of these in order for it to work with no UE4SS. I don't want this because it's the one that does not require Magic Loader, and I have Magic Loader, so I'm going to go ahead and use this version. Again, you guys should definitely have these different mods installed. If you don't already have all 3 of these installed, follow the links in the description down below and get them set up. Alright, last warning, now we're going to installation. So we're just going to click the download button and do the slow download. And if we look here on Vortex, you can see Basic Portable Tint TSMI Magic Loader is right here and installed. If we look at the load order, you can see Basic Portable Tint .esp is right there. That's how you know the mod is installed. So let's come back here to Files tab and go over one more thing real quick. We have a couple of different optional files here. This is the basic campfire, so basically just adds a nice little campfire and stool to the game. It also is being sold by the same person. We can download this just the same with the Mod Manager download, and then there's a little update here, a little fix to use the right fire source. Neither of these are going to require the base file here, Basic Portable Tint. You can just download the Basic Campfire standalone options. And there's one more optional file here, and it's for the Campfire patch for Core Survival. So if you have the Core Survival mod installed, you want to go ahead and download this. It is a patch file. When you have this installed, you're going to need to make sure, and I think Vortex will do this for you automatically, but you need to make sure that this file is after both Basic Campfire and Core Survival in your load order here. So just make sure of that, be aware of that when you got this installed if you're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and get the Basic Campfire downloaded. Again, it's going to require all 3 of those files mentioned earlier. And if we go to mods, Basic Campfire is right here. And in the load order, you can see basic campfire.esp is right there. We're going to go back to files, and we're going to also download basic campfire update. And we're going to go ahead and get this patch, and I just want to show you guys what happens if you have the patch installed but not the Core Survival mod installed and enabled. Just so people don't get angry about load order issues. So you can see here we have the basic campfire and basic campfire update. And then we have the basic portable tent campfire patch for Core Survival. If we go to load order here, you can see the basic portable tent the basic campfire, and then the basic campfire Core Survival patch. So if you go here to notifications, there's unresolved file conflicts, tell me more, basic campfire update is replacing basic campfire. That makes sense. Not a huge issue. Go in to mods here. Alright. So we need to cover Core Survival. I have it installed, but I don't have it enabled. And right now, because this file right here requires it, when we try to run the game, I'm going to guess that it is going to crash. Yeah, let's show it. Alright, basic campfire update. So it's complaining about that. We want basic campfire to be loaded before, and basic campfire update loaded after. And we'll go ahead and save that. That's going to resolve those conflicts. Pretty simple stuff Vortex can handle. But now we're going to try to load the game, and we don't have Core Survival patch installed. I'm expecting this to crash. And if it doesn't, I'm going to be shocked. There we go. It absolutely crashed. The reason it crashed is because we don't have Core Survival installed. So we're going to go ahead and enable that because we have the patch file. It makes these work well together. And if we look at the load order, you can see Core Survival is now below this patch. That is also equally going to cause a crash when you try to run the game. Try to run it now. We will see that in action. It's going to get to that same black screen and crash because it is trying to load Core Survival, and it's going to fail. Oh, it leapt into action and figured it out. Oh my goodness, it's trying to call me a liar. I suspect that Vortex did something pretty crazy here. Perhaps it's allowing Core Survival to overwrite the patch, and the patch doesn't actually require Core Survival. I think that's what Vortex is figuring out it can do. And maybe Vortex has a weird situation going on where because you have it, it is totally fine with the load order being out of whack. But maybe it's just it needs it and it doesn't care where it is. But the load order is going to matter tremendously. You want to make sure, in general, when you're doing your load order, you want the patch files for every patch, especially compatibility patches between mods. You want them as low in the load order as possible, as far back in the back at the bottom. Basically, this is going to edit files in Core Survival and also Basic Campfire, and you want the patch to do its job, and it needs to overwrite these in order to do it. You do not want either of these overwriting the patch setup. So just keep that in mind when you are trying to mod this and you have the Core Survival patch enabled. Alright, hopefully that was pretty clear and pretty straightforward. Hopefully easy to follow along. If there's anything that you were confused by, or if I made any mistakes, let me know in the comments down below. I'm pretty good about getting back to people that leave comments. that out of the way, I think now we're going to go into the immersion patch for these files as well. Alright guys, we are on the basic portable tint immersion value balance patch mod page on Nexus Mods. As always, I'm going to leave a link in the description down below so you guys can follow along with everything that I'm doing. If you like this mod, please don't forget to endorse it. That is basically the like button for Nexus Mods. Lets them know that you like it and gets the mod trending. Right, that out of the way, what is the immersion value balance patch for basic portable tint? Well, the base mod, Basic Portable Tint, provides an amazing tint with a lot of utility. It provides a place for you to sleep that's an owned bed, so you no longer have to pay ins. It has a reusable storage system that you can carry along with you, so you can store all your loot there. And it also has some optional upgrades that provide enchanting tables and spellcrafting tables, which are pretty powerful, pretty good stuff. And all of that sells for very, very cheap, and the entire tint, even with all the upgrades, only weighs 5 pounds. And some people might look at that and think that it's a bit unbalanced, and this is just a mod that kind of goes over and fixes some of that. And it comes in very many options on how you want to balance this out. You can upgrade just the price, you can upgrade just the weight, or you can upgrade both. So let's get into installation. Okay, so the requirements here, go figure, is the basic portable tint mod. So if you don't have that, then there's no point in this mod. Okay, so we get to the Files tab here. We have 6 total options, and you can see some of the values that we have here, especially in the optional. The tint value being a certain amount, the upgrade values, how much they're costing, and how much they all weigh. So those are pretty much the idea of what you're getting out of this mod. And then here you're going to need the tint value patch itself. You can pick any of these 3. This right here is just the values getting patched. This is the value and weight getting patched. And I think this hardcore makes it extremely expensive and weigh a bunch. Now I personally like the tint value patch out of these 3. So I'm going to just go ahead and install that with the Vortex Mod Manager download button here. Just a little reminder, you're going to need basic portable tint. I'm sure we all know that by now. We're going to do a slow download. And if we look over here on Vortex, you can see that it's already installed and enabled Basic Portable Tint Immersion Value Balance Patch. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And if we go here and check our load order, you can see tint value patch vo5.esp is at the bottom of our load order. Just a note for everyone moving forward, if you have this installed, you're going to want this patch, especially both of these, anything that patches between 2 different mods, you want them as low in the load order as possible after everything else, because the way the game is going to figure out what values are set up is it's going to read each bit of this one by one and eventually overwrite things with whatever the last thing is that's loaded. So if you have any patches and they don't seem to be working, I would check the load order and make sure the patches are at the bottom of the load order. And that's it. The entire patch file is installed and set up, and we're good to go, guys. Hopefully that was pretty easy to follow along. Hopefully I didn't make any huge mistakes. If I did, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll probably get back to you guys and help you out or address the issues. And with that all out of the way, guys, happy modding and happy Mondays.
He did well to send you to me.
Sweet. I'm now part of the Blades. That's freaking awesome. Where am I going to sleep at? I bet I get my own private room. I'm the hero of Kvatch. I go down an Oblivion Gate and all that. What the crap? Just kidding, guys. That is what the usual gameplay would be. But with the power of modding, we have a little surprise.
Welcome aboard, sir. It will be an honor to serve with you.
This right here is obviously the Emperor's room. He's got his own bed, and he's got... It's a pretty decked out room. And then I think this is Joffrey's room here, which is a little disappointing because I would really appreciate this room. This is a nice room.
Good afternoon, sir.
But currently, I have a mod installed, Cloud Ruler Player Home. And as you can see, there's this little extra door here that wasn't there before. And if we walk on in here, we're going to see a nice little surprise. We have our very own owned bed here. We have a chest that doesn't respawn. We've got a shelf that also doesn't respawn. We've got a couple of different books. We have a couple of different things here. Is that aha, extra storage. We have a copy of the Black Horse Courier Assassination. A little place to eat. Our cup. We even have a nice Surreally Brothers Vintage $3.99. And a cupboard that also does not respawn, as well as a jewelry box and sacks. Now this is what I expected from the base game. But instead I get to sleep on a floor mat next to all the other blades, even though I'm the hero of Kvatch. So yeah, this is a phenomenal player home little area here. Especially if you're going down the main quest line and you're all about that Blades life. This is just that little extra creature comfort of a player home. Pretty phenomenal, fantastic mod. Pretty awesome. Hello there, I didn't even see that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, but that is pretty much all I've got for you here. I would like to point out something that the mod author has went ahead and mentioned, and that is that there is a bug when you reload a save that's in this room from inside this room. I'm going to try to break things a little bit, so let's see if I can do it. I'm currently inside the room, and I'm going to load this room. There's a duplicate items glitch thing that happens apparently. Oh, I guess I didn't have a autosave in there. Oops. Let's go ahead and try to break it again. Okay, I'm gonna do a quick save right here. I'm in the room. Yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and load. Just to show you guys, there may be just a slight issue. Yeah. And as you can see, there are a lot of copies of things suddenly in this room. It's very strange. What even is that? Crumpled pieces of paper. We've got multiple copies of that. There's multiple copies of the Akaviri Katana. That one seems to be non-interactable. Very, very strange behavior. So keep an eye out for that. One tiny little flaw in the whole thing, but it's not the mod author's fault. This seems to be some kind of bug in the game itself. Perhaps there will be a fix for it in the future, but as of right now, there is not. So just bear in mind, this only happens if you have a save inside this room, and then you load that save while you are still in this room. If you load the save from the main menu, then you are all clear. Just wanted to point that out. Other than that, this is a flawless mod. This is a fantastic mod. I love it. This is going to be installed forever in my load order with 2 big thumbs up. Alright guys, with that all out of the way, let's go ahead and get into installation. Alright guys, we are here on the Cloud Ruler Temple Player Home mod page on Nexus Mods. As always, I'm going to leave a link in the description down below so you guys can follow along with everything that I'm doing. Also, don't forget, go ahead and endorse this mod if you like it. That lets the mod author know that you like the mod and gets it trending so it'll show up on the Nexus Mods homepage, hopefully. Alright, with that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and get into installation. If you scroll down here, there's a pretty easy manual installation guide right here. You just download the file, extract it, and then move this file into this folder right here. And then you have to update the plugins.txt with this right here. I'm not going to go through all of that process because Vortex will handle all of that for me and is a lot easier to update mods and manage them. So we're going to go into Files here, and do the Mod Manager download option, and we're going to do a slow download. Vortex is going to go ahead and get it installed, and as you can see, it's showing up here under the name FT Cloud Ruler Player Room. And that is it, guys. It is officially installed, and if you scroll down here, you can see FT Cloud Ruler Player Room is right there and installed. That's it, guys. I hope that was pretty easy to follow along. I know it's just a Vortex download, but on occasion there are a couple of things that you need to go over for mods. Sorry if this seems pretty redundant, as easy as it was. I just cover Vortex downloads in case there's any issues with load order or loot's freaking out about it, or if it's incompatible with other mods, things like that. If I made any mistakes along the way, or you want to let me know some stuff, leave a comment down below. I usually am pretty good about getting back to people in the comments section. Alright guys, as always, happy modding and happy Mondays. Alright guys, we are back in the game. I've got this fancy horse here and I actually plan on using it. What do I mean by that? Well, I have a mod here, not really related to horses, but definitely a mod that's going to get you using horses more often. It is called No Fast Travel, I think. That's the full name of the mod, Fast Travel, in parentheses, I think. If we go ahead and try to fast travel here, you can see you cannot fast travel from this location, and you're going to get that message quite a bit. It completely disables fast travel, which, to me at least, is a great thing. Now, I might sound crazy when I say that to some of you. I think a lot of people get in these games and they open up the map, they realize they have to go get the tower over here, so fast travel to Bruma instantly. Need to deliver the amulet, fast travel here. Need to go to Kvatch, went ahead and fast travel to Kvatch instantly. Need to bring Martin back, fast travel here. Yada yada yada. But you see what you're missing when you do that? Did you know, along the road here, somewhere right around there, there is a village full of people that have been turned invisible by a rogue mage that you can go help? If you didn't know that, you've been fast traveling too much. If you did know that, you know that that's a gem of its own right there. But yeah, that's pretty much why someone would install this kind of mod. It makes you traverse the world and actually feel like you're in it. So if you guys are like me and you really like the idea of not fast traveling and hoofing it on foot just about everywhere, just to get your steps in, to explore the world, and to feel a little bit more in the world, this is a fantastic mod. I definitely get the urge from time to time to fast travel, especially in my playthrough I've had so far. I've pretty much covered all of Anvil here and gone crazy looking over Anvil's whole area. I've had a quest where I go from here to here and then back and then back, and every time I seem to traverse, I find another Oblivion Gate, which I wouldn't have found if I had just been fast traveling. It's very nice, very good stuff, and this mod just kind of prevents you from accidentally cheating. That's all, guys. We're going to go ahead and get into installation now. And dang, I love this mod. Look at that landscape I'm going to get to explore now. Alright, installation time. Alright guys, we are on the no fast travel, I think, mod page on Nexus Mods. As always, I'm going to go ahead and leave a link in the description down below so you guys can follow along with everything that I'm doing. If you really like this mod, go ahead and endorse it. It's basically the like button for Nexus Mods. Alright, and one additional note I'd like to point out. This mod is the 93rd mod for Oblivion Remastered on the website. This is one of the first 100 mods that came out, and I think that that's something special. That alone gets my endorsement. Alright, so there's no great installation details here, but that doesn't matter too much. We're just going to go ahead and do the Mod Manager download installation. Click me and start walking. Great. I'm going to go ahead and do the Mod Manager download and do a slow download. And as you can see in Vortex here, we have the no fast travel, I think. Click me and start walking. It's already downloaded and enabled. And if we check our load order, we can confirm that no fast travel remastered.esp is installed and ready to go. And that's basically it, guys. Hopefully that was pretty easy to follow along and you guys found a new mod that you like. I know this is not going to be a mod for everyone, as it just takes away an element of the game that I'm sure a lot of people use all the time. But I definitely implore you guys, give this mod a shot, play the game without fast traveling, and see if it's not an entirely new game the whole time. I think it's going to open up your exploration. I think it's going to really show you how big Oblivion itself is. And I think you're going to fall in love with this mod, guys. I know I definitely have. I have this mod installed almost 100% of the time. Alright guys, with all that out of the way, happy modding and happy Mondays. Alright guys, we are back in the game, and we are in the Imperial City in the Market District. And real quick, I want to highlight a new mod I have installed called Soul Transit. If we head into the Discount Spells store in the Market District of the Imperial City, we're going to see that there are a few new spells that we can buy.
Edgar Vautrin, you don't...
Yeah.
Have a look at my wares.
Now on
I'm sure
this
there's
save,
something
I've
to
already
suit you.
bought all of his other spells. So, as you can see, he just has these two new spells. When you guys get this mod installed and you're on your first playthrough with it, and you haven't bought all of his spells, so you're just going to see them as part of the list. Now, when you are buying them, as you can see on the left-hand side, it appears that they are part of the Alteration School, but once
Thank
we
you
have
for your
them,
business. Bye.
see here, they are actually accurately represented as under the Mysticism School. Now, what these spells actually do is essentially have a lore-friendly way of fast traveling. Now, I know a lot of people with their immersion setups, they don't like to fast travel, and I am definitely one of those people. I'm going to go ahead and do the soul anchor, let's say right here. And then, normally I would have fast travel disabled, but I do want to show you guys the beauty of this mod. So I've set my anchor up, and that is where I will be teleported to every time I cast the spell. So I am here outside of Frostcrag Manor. As you can see, we've got Bruma right there, we've got Cloud Ruler Temple over there, and right around the corner of this giant rock is the Imperial City. And if I do the Soul Return casting of this spell, you're going to see that we're going to show right back up in the Imperial City in the Market District facing the White Gold Tower. So that is pretty straightforward, pretty simple. That's what that mod does. And yeah, that's basically everything I've got for you guys. But I do want to mention a couple of caveats and hopefully prevent you guys from making some crazy mistakes out there with this pretty great mod. Back in the days of Morrowind, there were a couple of unique and interesting spells, much like this. You could set an anchor spot and teleport back there. I think it was called Mark and Recall. And they also had spells like Levitate and Fly. But when they started work on Oblivion and they tried to make the Imperial City, such as this, a very large place, and have giant walls that prevent you from just exiting the map, or exiting the city to go straight to the map. You have to go through loading screens to actually be in the cities. They did not include those 4 spells, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess that it was because of the difficulties they would have to do when designing different quests. So one issue you guys might run into, for instance, is if you're in an Oblivion gate and you set your anchor spot there, and then you close the gate, what happens when you teleport back into that Oblivion gate? Is the sigil stone still in the tower? I don't know. Will you ever be able to escape? I don't know. If you escape, will the portal on the outside get opened up again? I don't know. There's a lot of ways that you can do some really incredibly strange things. There's a part in the Thieves Guild where you enter somewhere. Can't tell you where, but somewhere. Could be anywhere. Could be looking in any direction. Could be anywhere. You might get somewhere that you only have access to just that once, and if you teleport back there, strange things happen. In the main quest, there might be a Daedric realm called Paradise that you temporarily visit. If you set your location there, and then you complete that quest, and then you teleport back there, I have no idea if you'll ever be able to get out. I don't know if you trigger a very strange couple of events after that. You can absolutely destroy one of your saves if you misuse this. So I would very much caution, make good, smart decisions, good, educated guesses of will this break my game or will this not? And definitely install this mod and enjoy this mod. This is a great mod, but keep in mind, this is a dangerous mod where you can do some really dumb things. That being said, if you like doing dumb things, please leave a comment down below of the dumbest thing that you want to do now that you're seeing this mod. Alright, with that all out of the way, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get into installation. Alright guys, we are on the Soul Transit, Mark and Recall Remastered mod page on Nexus Mods. As always, I'm going to leave a link in the description down below so you guys can follow along with everything that I'm doing. If you like the mod, please don't forget to endorse it so you let everybody know that you liked it, and maybe we'll get this mod trending. With that all out of the way, let's get into a couple of things. So one thing we want to note is there's a requirement for NL tag remover. It's technically not required, but the names of the spells are going to be very strange with an NL tag in front of them if you don't have that mod installed. Fortunately for you guys, I already have a video covering how to get NL tag remover installed, and I'm going to leave a link in the description down below so you guys can get that all set up and squared away. Okay, so there's a couple bits of information here that you guys probably want to read through. Installation, he provides a very simple vortex installation, which is my preferred method. Bam bam, all done. The manual installation has a few more steps involved. It's a bit messier, having to mess with the plugins text and unzipping things and putting them in the right folder. I'm not going to get into manual installation at this time. My preferred method, as always, is going to be the Vortex installer. So we're going to go ahead and get to Files over here and get to Downloading. So you can see there are a couple of archived files here, but we are only interested in these two main files here. You're really only going to need one or the other. They both generally do the same thing, but they do it a little different, and I'll go over the differences between the two right now. So Classic is basically the mark and recall from Morrowind. It's the one that I showed off earlier. This is my preferred one for sure. I think this is very much what I like, is the set a location to teleport to and then use the other spell to teleport there all the time. The linked version comes with a 2-directional spell called Soul Link. And on the first use, you mark a location. On the second use, you teleport from a location to where you marked. And then on the third use, you teleport back to the original location before you teleported back to where you marked. So it's a bit interesting. I definitely encourage you guys go test this one out and see which one you like more. I like the classic more than I like the linked, and unfortunately at this time you can only have one or the other. So I think it's fine to go ahead and download both. We're going to go ahead and do that right now. This is the typical Mod Manager download, remembering that we need that NL tag remover installed in order for these to show up correctly. But we're going to get Classic installed and then also linked, and just show you guys that you can test out both. So here on Vortex, they're both going to show up as Soul Transit, and then there's the Classic and the linked version. If you take a peek at the load order, scroll to the bottom, you can see they're both showing up here for me. I've got Classic and linked. Whichever one is on the bottom is the version that's actually going to show up in the game. The other one is definitely going to overwrite the first one, at least at this time. Maybe in a future update you're going to be able to have both, but at this time you can only have one or the other. It's totally fine to have both installed, but I would have only one of them enabled at any given time. And if you want to test out the difference between the two, just disable one and enable the other. Very simple, very straightforward. And that is pretty much it, guys. I hope this was pretty easy to follow along with. I hope you guys got this installed, found a new mod that you enjoy. And if you got lost along the way or you have any troubles after getting this installed, please leave a comment down below and I will do my best to help you guys out. I'm usually pretty good at responding to the comments. And with all that out of the way, guys, happy modding, and as always, happy Mondays. Alright guys, we are on the powerful unique items mod page on Nexus Mods. As always, I'm going to leave a link in the description down below so you guys can follow along with everything that I'm doing. And as always, guys, if you like this mod, please don't forget to endorse it. This is basically the like button of Nexus Mods. With that out of the way, let's get into what this mod actually does. Essentially, if I was to say in a short little sentence, this mod upgrades the unique items that you find in the world and as part of quest rewards and makes them truly powerful and unique. It makes questing well worth it, it makes finding rare items feel very rewarding, and it makes it feel like these items you find are better than the items that you can actually make. So, let's get into which items he has covered. And here in the description page, he has noted in the 5th version of this mod all of the different changes he has made for that version specifically. There's more for the other versions. So, as you can see here, there is a long list. There's no way that I was going to be able to make a video showcasing each and every change that he has made. It is an absurd amount of time and energy put into this. A lot of effort made, and I think it's fantastic. This is amazing. That was all with the most recent 5.0 version. You can see with the 4.0 and 3.0 and 2.0 the differences he's made before that. And with the original release, which I think most of these are the Daedric artifacts. Also, here at the bottom, he has an installation instructions for manual installation. I am not going to go through a manual installation. I'm only going to do the Vortex installation. I think that is definitely the route to go. But if you want to do things manually and put in the extra work, here is some simple instructions you can follow to do so. He also mentions down here at the bottom, you're probably going to want the NL tag remover mod to remove the NL tags from all of the items that have been edited. And as we can see, that is a lot of items. I love this mod. This is amazing. Alright. Don't forget to endorse. Alright, last time I'm saying that. Let's get into the actual installation of this mod. We're going to go into Files, and you can see there's a file archive for the previous versions, but we're only focused on the latest. We're just going to do a Mod Manager download option here, and do the slow download. And if we pull Vortex up, you can see it's right here, powerful, unique artifacts. And if we check our load order here, a couple changes.esp is that mod. Alright guys, that is the entire installation process, as well as a slight brief summary of what this mod is. If you're more interested in fine comb looking through all the details of all the changes that were made, feel free to follow the link in the description, go to the mod page and check it out yourself. There's just no way I'm going to be able to make a video covering all of those changes and keep it reasonable in under an hour and a half. And I don't think anybody's here for a feature-length film, but there is some required reading maybe if you're very picky on this. If you're not very picky and you just like the idea of the unique items out in the game and quest rewards being very powerful, and you're okay being surprised on a couple of things, I highly recommend this mod. Go ahead and download it. Alright guys, with all of that out of the way, happy modding and happy Mondays. Hey guys, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And thanks for watching Modding Mondays, the series. I am trying to get these videos spread as far and wide as possible so we can get as many people as possible modding this game and not being afraid to try to get their local system set up. I am going to need your help in doing this though, so please, please, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share this video as much as possible so we can get more people modding this amazing game. Thank you so much guys, and I will see you next time.